Rick, how you doing?
Good morning, Keith. I'm fine. How about yourself?
Great, man. You want to do one more?
Yes, sir. Let's talk.
Okay, great. So, before we started this recording, you mentioned that maybe I could share about uh, how I sprinkle kindness, around, my community, around Mayo Clinic, where I work, and in ToBeRe, and perhaps other people could borrow some of those habits. So let's call it acts of kindness. Okay.
Great, great, great. Yeah, go.
So there's a lot of ways that I do it, Rick, and really, I think what's really important is that before I started to be someone who wants to sprinkle kindness, I was someone who made complaining a superpower. I would complain and judge everything that happened in front of me. I was never really at peace, whether it was a driver in front of me, whether it was how somebody gave a presentation, I would find something that could be improved upon. And that's really how I showed up in every space that I walked into. I was looking at the lighting, the carpet, you name it. My was always using, you know, my consciousness to really be trying to improve other people, which is foolhardy, and but I did it anyway. And so once I started to work on myself in earnest, and you were a great inspiration. I mean, and beyond working out, beyond eating a certain way, I mean, those are all forms of personal development, but really working at trying to heighten my consciousness to really live a peaceful and purposeful life that was oriented around keeping an open heart and serving others. Once I started to really set on that path, I knew that the superpower needed to be converted, transformed. And so instead of complaining, what I want to do is I wanted to make being kind like breathing for me.
Mm.
Just like complaining, I didn't even I wasn't constantly saying I'm setting out to complain. I was just complaining. I wanted kindness to be that default behavior for me, that default setting. And so I think that's important for the listeners to do is that I wasn't, someone who grew up being kind. No, I was someone who grew up complaining and I really want and being critical of myself and others. And I wanted to make a shift and I needed it and I wanted to be sustained for the rest of my life. So I had to do little things to make it a habit for me. So one of the things that I would do, and I do all the time, is if you ever get an email or text message from me, it will always begin with a greeting about how you're doing. And that could seem like, oh, that's just formal or something that is, um, um, that's once you start typing it, it auto fills out or something like that, that I set up this algorithm or something that it would pre-fill out. But no, I literally type every single letter because that allows me to think about the person who I'm connecting with. I really wanted to be connected with the humanity of the person who I was communicating with. And so I do that. I made it a point to remember things about people that I met and engaged with, because that was also me honoring the time that we had together that I want to remember what they shared. And so I would include those in whatever communication that we were having, like, how was your family? Or I know you went through a challenging time, how are you doing with that? Or something like that. So that's one example of me really connecting with people and writing, whether it's a text message or whether it's communicating in an email or a letter. Another thing that I do is I say good morning or hello to everybody that I pass, everybody. And that's an opportunity for me to sprinkle kindness. Michael Singer says it best. Every moment that passes in front of me, I want that moment to be better than it was because it passed in front of me. How do I serve that moment? And so greeting is another thing that I do. Also, I give people my attention, is another example of what I do to sprinkle kindness. Whenever Tim and I travel somewhere, we have this thing that we say, it's free. And he's like, KJ, kindness is free. And so we just talk about it all the time, whether we are talking to a hotel receptionist, and we're asking for, a late checkout. And many times they'll give us a late checkout, or they'll upgrade the rental car or whatever. And sometimes they won't. And we'll just like, no matter what the outcome is, we always like, it's free. It's kindness is free. And so those are a couple other examples. Another example is I'm often on a pickleball court. And in pickleball, it's inevitable that during your game that another group's pickleball or tennis ball is going to bounce into your court. And you will be in the middle of play. And the old Keith, if my play was interrupted, I would be so irritated that the play was interrupted on my side. As if they're over there, throwing balls purposely into our court. Like, hey, Keith's about to hit a winning shot. Let's make it not count and interrupt the game. No one's doing that. But even if they were, okay, they're doing that. So, but what I do is I jog to the ball, pick it up, and I look at the person as I'm hitting it back over into their court every single time. I'm really intentional about that. And if they retrieve a ball for us, I'm always like, thank you so much. That's an act of kindness. When somebody on our court hits the ball back to me or throws the ball back to me on our side, I'm doing the same thing. I'm always saying thank you. If you come into the studio in ToBeRe, there are two phrases that you will hear more than any other phrase, and that's thank you and please. Those are all acts of kindness. Those are expressions of gratitude. So I'm very intentional about how I do it. So I sprinkle kindness every day. When I give talks at Mayo Clinic, people often ask me, about my job. They're like, man, your job is so cool. I was like, I know, I just sprinkle kindness every day. They're like, I wish I had your job. And I say, you do. You're just not doing it, but you got the job. Like I had the job since I was born. I just didn't do it. So now, I make that, something that I just do, and it's become effortless to be kind and to be thoughtful. And it's just, those are just a few examples. And then lastly, in the workplace or wherever I'm with somebody, I always ask them. It's funny at McDowell Mountain Ranch where I play pickleball at. People always comment like, "Man, that dude is so nice." The guy's always he's always asking about my family, and just or how I'm doing. Like he's always asking, like because everyone's like, "Hey, how you doing?" But like I'm asking other questions, and that's also an expression of kindness. But the very last thing I was going to say is whenever I'm with people, especially in the workplace or other places where there's some kind of work or activity going on, I always say before I leave, hey, Lee, I'm leaving in 30 minutes, or I'm leaving in 5 or 10 minutes. Is there anything I could do for you before I go?
Wow.
I never fail to do that wherever I am. Is there anything I can do to help? And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to serve other people, man, and serve the moment that's in front of me. And for someone who didn't show up the majority of his life this way, this is a big deal. But some people it may be effortless for. For me, it was effortful. And then once it became a habit, now it's effortless. I can't imagine like going through a day where I'm not sprinkling kindness. So hopefully that was helpful to our listeners.
That's an incredible list of things to do that none of which involve giving away money, none of which involve giving away possessions or taking anything out of your pocket. These are all things that you outlined that not only make your life better because you're contributing to the lives of others, and that's the way you want to be, but also as a beneficiary of the kind of things you're talking about. It just makes people feel so appreciated and understood and seen. It's priceless. That's just priceless. That's really what we all want. I just make one footnote. I can't add anything to that, Keith. That was a brilliant summation of things that we all could do to make life better for one another. I just want to say that you are the kind of guy, and you're probably one of two or three in my life that has this, that has helped me understand that taking action is not something you have to be afraid of. When I came into ToBeRe, the physical part of it, since I had been away from exercising so long, was daunting. But I felt lost. And my first early sessions with you, I thought were terrible. But you never said that. You never, ever let me feel down about myself. You were always helping me but making me do it. You'd show me how to do it, and then you'd make me do it, or you'd watch me do it. You'd let me struggle with it until I finally developed the expertise to do it on my own. And that helping me take action without judging me was priceless. And that was one of the crystal clear, beautiful things that ToBeRe offered. And I desperately miss now being 125 miles away from ToBeRe and all of you. You are a gift, and I'm sure Mayo realizes that, and you are certainly a gift to me, Case. Thank you for this. It's beautiful.
Wow, thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate that. I mean, I am humbled by your words and grateful for our friendship. I'll just add one last thing regarding this is that without setting out to do it, um, by making giving and serving others um, a core behavior, I get it back in a thousandfold. I'm surrounded by people that give back to me. So, for example, we're about to hold a Mayo Clinic pickleball event where we're going to have 30 or 40 people come out, half of which have never played before. And the number of friends who are helping me put that on, from Christina to Julie, to many others that are showing up to help us with this is phenomenal, you know. And nobody's getting paid, you know. Nobody's guaranteed any kind of playing time. Who are helpers? Maybe they'll get in, maybe they won't, you know. But they're just really like, how can I serve? And so what I found is when you show up that way, this is kind of like how life shows up back for you. And then lastly, one of the things with sprinkling kindness is that it's unconditional. You know, very early on, I was really clear that I wasn't looking for a thank you back. Some people say thank you, some people don't, you know. And if my ego ever got bruised or felt like I can't believe they, you know, didn't say thank you or express appreciation for that act of kindness, uh, that became my work. That became me working on myself because I want my giving not to be predicated on me getting something back, even something as small but just as insidious as somebody thanking me for having done something for them. That's no different than people paying you for it. It's you get there's a payoff in there for you. And so I really wanted all of that to be rooted out so that my kindness was or expressions of it were authentic. That it was really me having taken care of myself so well, have been so diligent about working on myself and getting rid of all those things that are barriers to me being connected with others and being fully conscious that when I had scrubbed all that away, that the only thing that was left was me having love to give. That was it. That's all that's left. So that's what I'm giving. And I'm still working on it every single day, Rick. And I'm grateful for you asking us to speak on this, and hopefully our listeners have benefited from it. And just thank you for all the many ways that you have blessed my life. I'm grateful for you. I love you.
I love you. Thanks, Keith. You're an elegant human. It's a privilege to be in your life and to share a common path. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Rick. I love you.
Bye.